The handsome man is here. The numerous shape-shifting King Kong of Base 5 looked at the huge base like an endless mountain with shocking expressions and surprises on their faces. Marshal to join the war. If the vertigo keeps stopping me, I can kill all these damn bugs alone. The deafening roar remembered that the Fortress King Kong Meng really enjoyed this kind of strong appearance in the desperate situation, and he was very happy to be his own savior. He must have established a more dazzling military exploit than his rival Iron Armored Dragon. Mighty handsome. Autobot Army, Titan Kong. Character. Humble, accurate plus 100%, height, 1,600 meters. Energy. 600 million, body, healthy power, level sub-god father. Famous saying. Vigilance is the cornerstone, victory is hard to shake. Evaluation. A fierce man, he has long existed as the last defense line of the Autobots and the Autobot City. It is the enemy and #1 nemesis of the Iron Ankylosaurus. He can lift a mountain easily, and the outer armor is extremely strong, and a terrifying nuclear explosion can't hurt him at all. In the urban form, Mengdashwai's full set of facilities can meet the various needs of shapeshifting King Kong's life. It is equipped with living rooms, maintenance cabins, landing platforms, communication facilities, laboratories, and even entertainment venues that are popular among urban residents. The Horror Fortress King Kong, a fierce commander, just rushed into the battlefield, crushing countless insects into powder. Not only that, this huge fortress of the high-speed movement, the countless buildings inside at the moment, have stretched out a series of ferocious muzzles in an instant, one after another, as if the pressure of Death God's sickle erupted, crazy, harvesting everything on the battlefield. The huge swarm of tens of millions of insects was densely packed and terrifying at a glance, but at this moment, under the collision of the fierce commander and the terrifying fire that could easily cover a continent, it could only make a screaming scream. This moving city is also a robot. Damn, these species named shapeshifting King Kong are simply a big trouble. A level sub-godfather's bug roared and flew up quickly, and saw the space flickering. It had already pounced on Dashwai and wanted to kill Dashwai. But in just a second, its ability was analyzed and locked by the strong commander. The moment it appeared, various terrorist weapons such as radiant microwave cannons and ion pulse guns had already fired, and only a scream was heard. The famous insects were bombarded and killed. Ha! Marshal Meng is the most powerful warrior of Yaishan Father. Meng Dashwai fell into a frenetic state, rampaging on the battlefield, this terrifying worm tide, in front of a super war city, it is not enough to see. The entire Annihilation Swarm fell into restlessness, screaming in panic. No matter how hard they tried, they looked so fragile and tragic in front of the handsome man. Base 23 was defended, relying only on a fierce commander. It raged arbitrarily with tens of millions of insect swarms. The billowing smoke dissipated, and the debris of insect swarms everywhere were the best trophies. But at the moment, there are still a huge number of Annihilation Zerg who broke through the firepower net. Even if the firepower of more than 70 bases around the world is exhausted, it still cannot be completely blocked. Almost all the bases have been surrounded by the Zerg group, and there has been a tragic outbreak of war. Commander, I can't go on like this, I consume too much energy. Meng Dashwai collided again, crushing millions of bugs, at the moment said to the dizziness who was sitting on his internal command tower. Vertigo looked indifferent, and said solemnly, I definitely know that this will not work. In fact, in just such a short time, you have lost hundreds of millions of energy reserves. Looking at the sharply reduced energy of Meng Dashwai, the dizziness was also frightened. No wonder, the two live war cities, the Iron Armored Dragon and the Fierce Commander, are not allowed to be used at will. The tough is really tough. One of them can top tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of shapeshifting diamonds. It is energy friendly. The loss is too exaggerated. A powerful insect swarm rushed up screaming. The strong commander gave a low shout and quickly shapeshifting, changing from a vehicle form to a human form of war. The whole body was covered with various energy and gunpowder weapons, bursting into flames, covering a vast area of tens of thousands of miles on the spot. Large areas are emptied. Are we just holding on like this? Meng Dashwai hissed in a low voice. Vertigo said indifferently. Don't worry, we, as the first troops to fight these insects, don't need to defeat the other party at all. Even with this strength, we can't fight the insects at all. The purpose of our stationing on this planet is to be one. Nails and strongholds. Essentially it is to buy time and stabilize the frontline coordinates. At this moment of dizziness, looking at the various data from Ultron's major bases, energy consumption speed, ammunition reserve remaining, warrior damage rate, etc., the mind has never been clearer. This vast war that swept across the universe could never be solved by their population of tens of millions. A huge army will arrive soon. Well, they are here. As soon as the voice fell, a beam of huge amounts of light suddenly crossed the long cosmic starry sky, and fell on this planet in an instant. The light of the space bridge pierced the boundaries of space, and in the emergence of a huge vortex, countless troops began to swarm into the battlefield. These are just activated. The shape-shifting King Kong army. Although it was not cultivated by orthodoxy, but directly gave life to ready-made machinery, but its terrifying quantity and strong enough combat power are exactly what this huge war covering the entire universe really needs. Endless war machines swarmed over this planet. With the assistance of Ultron, the newly born shape-shifting King Kong quickly learned about the battle, and began to travel around the world in the form of a legion to fight against the Annihilation Swarm. In an instant, countless corpses of insects were torn apart, and countless shape-shifting diamonds were also maimed. Looking around, there were mechanical parts mixed with corpses of insects, a tragic scene. Covered with various weapons, the mountains are flattened, the oceans are evaporated into deserts, and terrifying energy beams spread everywhere, rendering the darkness into the wailing day of the soul. Hiss. An annihilator had just shredded a shape-shifting King Kong, Yang Tian screamed, and in the next second, its body was immediately penetrated by several swords. Go to death, disgusting bug. A shape-shifting King Kong grinned, cursed, and immediately led his team to kill other insect swarms. Similar scenes are all over the world, and the number of horrors between the two sides is just a trivial beginning. Cybertron. Martin looked at the universe that had suddenly become lively, suddenly smiled, and slowly opened his arms. The smoke of war will always be the most wonderful flavor in the world. Then, let the light of this battlefield become brighter. In an instant, the fire source burst out, instantly encompassing the many planets of the entire world tree, and countless machines were activated on the spot, turning them into a shape-shifting King Kong with strong immediate combat power. And this is just the beginning. The fire source spread rapidly, surpassing the limit of the world tree, and continuously spreading outwards. Countless galaxies are under Martin's will, and all the machinery have nothing to hide. The screws are crazy. The leaders of the major planets shuddered as they watched the endless swarms of insects overwhelmingly. Prepare for war. This is the Annihilation Zerg recorded in ancient books, and it is the race of Enerus. An alarm sounded, and the entire Andromeda galaxy was instantly caught in huge amounts of war, but it just lost its parent star, and the essence of the entire civilization was taken down by Galactus. The crunchy screw people were horrified to discover that they weren't an annihilator group of opponents. Huge numbers, terrifying speed of reproduction, incredible evolutionary abilities, various super abilities with weird aura. The Screwed Empire collapsed across the board. One by one, the fixed star system fell at super light speed, and countless people were slaughtered by the insect swarms, and they were completely defeated. The terrifying invasion of the Andromeda galaxy is just a microcosm of countless galaxies in the universe. Many galaxies lack the overlord civilization and gods. Facing the endless swarm of annihilation, they can only cry in despair. It can't be stopped. We have lost 50% of the population and planets, and many important mineral planets have completely fallen. This battle, we have already lost. The Shia Empire hopes to join hands with us. The group of Carrie Hitch also agreed. Let's join hands. Together there is still a possibility of victory. Alone will only bring destruction to the great Screw Empire. The king looked at the full screen of painful loss in pain, and closed his eyes. How long has it been since the population of more than 20 billion is only in the early 10 billions, and they have spent 1,000,000 years in the loss of the Carrie people, not as much as they have lost in less than a month. Planets were surrounded by endless seas of insects, resisting hard, and the soldiers and residents looked desperate. Stronger than the three major interstellar civilizations, facing the terrifying annihilation of the Zerg, at the moment also fell into deep helplessness, can only bite the bullet, madly turn the science and technology tree to the war side, and continue to cultivate more military talents, and then pile up War Department. But this is still difficult to reverse the decline. The loss is intensifying, and the power that can be used will only become less and less with the passage of time, and the Annihilation Zerg is so crazy, but more and more powerful. It's over, there is no hope. Taros looked desperate. No matter how various calculation formulas are used to simulate, the final result will always be the only way to extinction. Sometimes, in the face of absolute numbers, there is no overwhelming individual strength, and there is really nothing to do. As a high-ranking member of the Skrull Empire, Talos, who was on the trapped planet, had already planned to die together bombing the planet and dying with countless bugs. Annihilation Zerg. Obviously it only appeared once in the cosmic records, but who would have thought it would be so terrible? It's over, everything is over, the Screw Empire has lost the Andromeda galaxy. Talos sat silently on the seat, his face blank and numb, undoubtedly rubbing the button in his hand. As long as he pressed it, the planet would explode. It's time. Talos showed a hideous color in his eyes, and he was about to press it down with a finger. Sir, look. The adjutant suddenly shouted with a shocked expression on his face. What? Talos looked up blankly. At this time, an unknown energy that was so terrible that it was difficult to analyze, with a transcendent attitude that was above all rules, such as a vast torrent, swept across the planet in an instant. All the screams and wailing seemed to have a moment of stagnation, but it seemed that nothing happened. In an instant, it seemed as if the palm of the Creator flicked lightly. Countless machines began to stir spontaneously. Things named wisdom and life suddenly replaced the original coldness and silence, and instantly began to shapeshifting crazily, becoming a name: Shapeshifting King Kong. The entire lonely planet in the middle of the sea of insects, at the moment, all the machinery has been lit up with life and soul, began to make weapons, and brazenly fight the endless swarm of insects. A shapeshifting King Kong who had just awakened was immediately uploaded to the Ultron system, and began to form a team with the different types of shapeshifting King Kong around him. Fight the enemy without fear of death. For Cybertron, under the stunned gaze of the remaining Skrulls, the computers, spaceships, and armors around them all began shapeshifting at this moment, and even the weapons in their hands became a shapeshifting King Kong. One by one, high roar rushed out towards the insect swarm outside. Many factories in cities have already been shape-shifted at this moment. Large-scale machine tools and precision instruments, at the moment still maintains the original form, but start to produce all kinds of machinery frantically, and then the forming machinery instantly covers the fire of the endless galaxy. Under the power of the source, it became a smart and sound shapeshifting King Kong. At the moment, factories and laboratories have turned into super arsenals, and their products are constantly elite fighters. Riot. Crazy mob. Turn everything that can be used in front of you into a sea of machinery. Every new shapeshifting King Kong has a complete self-awareness and a strong fighting instinct. Although the material is limited, it is destined to not have strong potential and endurance, but on an endless battlefield of this scale, does every soldier need to be able to fight and carry it? No, quantity is required. There must be a number of terrifying battles with the Annihilation Zerg. The Skrulls stared blankly at the endless shapeshifting King Kong swarming up, at the moment completely silly, staring blankly at everything in front of them. From desperate, isolated and helpless, to the powerful warriors around him swarming, what made the Skrulls stunned is that all kinds of weapons and equipment have become shapeshifting diamonds of different shapes, and some weapons of shapeshifting diamonds simply remain intact. He was picked up by the strong shapeshifting King Kong by his side, and then yelled as a side weapon. Even the effort of manipulating weapons and controlling war props is saved, because weapons and props have originally become shapeshifting diamonds. It seems that this war has not yet been lost, and we have got the most powerful helper. Talos was silent for a moment, with excitement on his face. Yes, but this is too exaggerated. Any mechanical and electronic equipment has become these robots, and those factories are still going crazy with brand new robots. The adjutant stammered. At this time, a small shapeshifting King Kong jumped onto the console, and looking at the appearance, this small thing seemed to be transformed from a piece of contactor. Get out, you are blocking me. The little shapeshifting King Kong shouted loudly, drove the original owner here, and then operated on the complicated operation table. The movements were extremely skillful, as if they had been tempered. After all, the Skrulls were shocked, their faces were full of excitement. But what they didn't know was that this was just the beginning. They were on a planet in this region, and looking at the entire universe, it was not worth mentioning. The peculiar power that is like the vast Wang Yang, with Cybertron as its core, is spreading crazily toward the endless and deep universe. Every moment, there are countless planets shrouded. Every moment, there is endless shapeshifting King Kong was born and joined the battlefield in the first time. All the survivors in the universe were stunned. They watched this scene blankly, but were ecstatic in their dazedness, as if they had seen their savior. The protagonist of this big drama has just stepped onto the stage at this time. Martin is standing by the window, holding a cup of coffee, as if enjoying the beautiful scenery outside the window. In fact, he is indeed admiring the grand occasion of the entire universe. The whole universe is boiling. With the terrifying power from Martin, roar suddenly roared out at this moment, covering the entire universe in a flash. In the bang, if you look at it from a higher perspective, you will be shocked to find that the entire universe has turned into fire at this moment. The network, the stars flicker. And this light is rapidly lighting up. In the pitch darkness, there are endless areas covered by the fire source at all times, and countless firelights emerge crazily. Soon, most areas of this universe were already under Martin's power range, with almost endless reinvention power. At this moment, there was finally a burst of sharpness. Terrible mob ability. Not only the ready-made machinery has quickly become a shapeshifting diamond, but also a constantly producing finished machinery, always under the cover of the fire source. At the moment of forming, it will become a vivid shapeshifting diamond. This is the real usage of fire source. It can radiate the entire universe for a long time, unlimited violent soldiers. Soon, the scene that caused countless civilizations and forces to tremble appeared. There was a steady stream of shape-shifting King Kong, which was impossible to estimate. At this moment, they stepped into the battlefield and swallowed all the annihilation Zergs in each planet and fixed star system. A cruel war was launched. At every moment, there are countless insects and shape-shifting diamond entangled together, in the desperate bite and swallowing each other, turning into countless corpses and broken parts, floating weakly in space. This kind of scene is common in the entire universe. The endless wave of worms and the endless shape-shifting King Kong, at this moment with the vast universe and stars as the battlefield, wantonly war, various high-tech and super ability burst out one after another. This kind of scale unheard of by the gods is unique. This is the man's power. This kind of endless ability to make soldiers is too terrifying. This weird creature is called shape-shifting King Kong. It is born with more mature wisdom and thinking. What kind of ability is this? It's horrible. No wonder the gods were so jealous of Martin. It wasn't until Martin became an existence comparable to the gods of the universe that he didn't stop. This kind of ability that instantly turned the entire universe into a giant arsenal is simply incomprehensible. At the moment, the countless life forms were shocked and stupefied. They watched the dead next to them. They didn't belong to them for a moment. They charged at the forefront in an instant. They were more fierce than yourself and not afraid of death. When I was able to fight, I was really frightened. I don't know if it should be joy or fear. What they didn't know was that at this moment, even the aloof cosmic gods, after seeing Martin's magnificent handwriting, were dumbfounded. This is what the weapon named Fire Source can do. It can stably cover most of the universe for a long time, and it can accurately give the dead wisdom. It doesn't matter if this is already the limit. The most difficult thing is that we can't determine whether this is the limit of the Fire Source, or the limit of Martin. This is a completely different concept. Fire Source. Martin. The end. An ancient god, some even existed when the universe was born, but now looking at the fierce war that covers the entire universe, countless robots and insects are fighting wildly, and my heart is also affected by huge amounts of shock. It is true that this amount of horror is indeed not enough for them to fight. The existence of level single universe wipes out a large number of river systems, but even if they are so powerful, they can't do this kind of thing right now. Infinite rioters do not say. It is simply to instantly give the dead a will to their own will, light up their wisdom, but also to light up and endow them endlessly. Even a god can't do it. The signal revealed in this one is terrible. The source of fire, or Martin, where is the limit? God of death, you are the ultimate destination of souls in charge of the universe, those souls of shape-shifting King Kong. A god asked in a low voice. Many beings were silent, looking at the four stalwart figures one after another, waiting for an answer. For a long time, Death said in a cold voice, "These shape-shifting diamonds have independent souls in an instant. There is no doubt that you can see it. No matter what form their souls were born in and mature instantly, they are indeed with a complete soul, and more importantly, the souls of the shape-shifting King Kong who died did not come to me, but bypassed my rule and went to Martin." Wow. The gods were in an uproar. Death is not only a living god, but also a law of the rule of the end of the universe. As long as it is a life that has died in this universe, unless the soul is slaughtered by the enemy, it will inevitably come to death in ignorance. This is the operation of the universe rule, the inevitable result. But now, these trillions of shape-shifting King Kong, there is no dead soul to come to see death? The souls of these guys can actually ignore the constraints of the fundamental rule of the universe and return directly to Martin's hands. I can see that countless souls are returning to Martin. This bastard. In the end, Death gritted his teeth and looked extremely violent. She is Death, Death is her. But now, Martin can instantly create endless shape-shifting King Kong souls. When she died, she also roughly interrupted her, and recovered all of them without landing. She refuses to give her any of them, and she doesn't even bother to pretend. That fire source is an artifact that surpasses a single universe. At least, a universe is definitely not the upper limit of that weapon. Death gritted his teeth and whispered in a cold voice. Then find a way to decipher the reason why he can create souls without limits. This ability is too weird, and it directly bypasses, even crushes and temporarily replaces the original universe rule, connecting his own creation and termination into a perfect closed loop. A god speaks. Many gods thought of Lord Planet Devourer, who was in charge of creation and destruction, and immediately sighed that Lord Galactus, who was invincible, had been captured by the annihilation Zerg into the negative space. Even since the Big Bang, Galactus has been in a hungry state and recruited a large group of young men named Galactus Messengers to look for planets to eat. It seems that Galactus is just a waste. According to ancient rumors, the planet Devourer is only in elementary level form. Once the creation god is full, the past destruction form will be immediately cut off, and he will be transformed into a noble, life messenger. From now on, full-time in various desolations. Sow the seeds of life on the dead planet and awaken life. It's just that no one has seen the life messenger. They stared at them for more than 10 billion years, only to see the planet devourers who are always in the state of shopping, eating. If Galactus can evolve into a life messenger and perform the duty of creation, then it may be possible to figure out the mystery of Martin's unlimited creation of souls. So, Martin's matter is set aside. He is already tied with me. Although he is not a cosmic entity of this universe, he is already comparable to us in terms of specifications. The question now is whether we should rescue Galactus. Cronus, Thanos' cheap grandfather, spoke coldly. As soon as I said this, all the gods fell silent, thinking of the terrible Annihilation Insect King, and there was no god to speak. Annihilation King Enerus, the Lord of Negative Space, commanded a terrifying annihilation zombies that even gods can eat, the top role in the proper level single universe. Even the ancient universe gods are unwilling to provoke this one. Just because Enerus is older, stronger, and more brutal than them, completely unreasonable, and still has a powerful artifact in his hand. If you irritate this person, you will really die. We and the gods do not have any obligation to help each other, unless they are facing a major crisis of the collapse of the universe. Otherwise they are not allowed to interfere with each other, so as not to trigger unnecessary battles and cause major harm to the universe. What he said this time was actually annihilated. He coldly dropped these words, turned and left. Even if they are both the creation gods, Annihilation is extremely indifferent, and there is no plan to go to war with Enerus at all. Galactus. Just die, he doesn't care. The gods were silent, and immediately, they left one after another, and a few sneers appeared on the faces of a few of them. Some gods hid in their own foreign land, quietly overlooking this unprecedented battle. It's an unprecedented scale. Take a look at it. It's the fierce confrontation between the mechanical army and the insect tide. Whenever you meet, you will first wash the ground with long-range fire or super ability coverage. When you get close, you lose the heavy guns and giant cannons and draw out your swords. Charged up and slashed wildly. Shape-shifting King Kong severely slashed the bug screamed, and went up to bite the shape-shifting King Kong. This kind of scene is everywhere. Hand-to-hand combat is always the most tragic of all forms of war. The broken corpses of the Zerg and the broken parts of the King Kong are scattered throughout the universe. The terrifying roar and explosive energy fluctuations of all galaxies tell the cruelty of this war. This is truly true. In the war of endless omnibus and endless worms, both sides have absolute numbers covering everything, and both have the ability to be born to be able to quickly acquire immediate combat power, can adapt to the dangerous environment, and can be in the body. Under defective conditions, it still maintains a high level of combat effectiveness and fighting spirit. Amazing similarity. Two major natural disasters launch a long and cruel tug of war in this Marvel world. Both sides are desperately fighting for valuable planets, but if they occupy them, they will start frantically snatching or devouring valuable minerals in the first place, and quickly transform into new soldiers on the spot. Every planet is a battlefield of fierce competition. The many aloof existences also had to look down with shocked faces, watching this unprecedented vast war. Even the oldest gods, at this moment, they all looked solemnly. As the leader of the insect scourge, Enerus seemed extremely calm. It just extended its gaze at will, glanced at the outside world, and immediately stopped paying attention. It's not that I don't care, but because there are more important things to do. Galactus, the god of creation, you are dead. It's better to give me all your cosmic powers and let me grow my race. On a huge and incomparable high-tech instrument, the planet devourer is imprisoned layer by layer, and the constantly strange energy from the body is forcibly drawn away by the instrument. The insect king Enerus sat on the throne, staring at Galactus indifferently, until he saw the cosmic power that was drawn out. He would not be satisfied. Galactus's cosmic power is extremely powerful. If you give out a part at will, you can mass-produce the Galactus messenger. That level Godfather starts with level single universe. The typical one is the Silver Shadowman, who originally dedicated himself actively in exchange for Galactus to let go of the heroes of his hometown. As a result, Galactus gave him some cosmic powers, giving him the powerful super ability. Resisting extreme temperature, launching cosmic rays, and manipulating energy. Wait a minute and become a god. It's so exaggerated. Outside matters don't need to pay too much attention. When I devour Galactus' cosmic power, no one in the universe will be my opponent. My cute bugs will destroy the entire universe. Enerus casually stroked the larva crawling by its side. The larva looked up ignorantly, neighed, and continued to crawl slowly. Enerus smiled. Boom. There was a loud noise, and several powerful figures tore through the gap in the negative space and slammed in. Enerus, let go of my master, or you will die. The tyrant wielded a heavy axe and hit it with one blow, and the cold light that smashed the stars emerged, suddenly clearing a large area of the bugs that were blocking the front. More than a dozen Galactus messengers came in one after another, and their expressions were furious, especially after seeing the tragic situation of Galactus being pumped out of energy. In the eyes of outsiders, Galactus is the demon of this universe, devouring life planets everywhere. For example, the Screws, who were greatly injured by eating their mother star, hate Galactus for the bones. But in the eyes of these messengers, their master is the most generous and benevolent existence in the universe. Yes, benevolent. Galactus recruits little brothers. They never force them. They exchange more, and as long as the little brother wants to go, Galactus will generously release people, and will not reclaim its own cosmic powers. Then look for a new Galactus messenger. Therefore, Galactus was highly respected by these messengers. At the moment, when they heard that Galactus was imprisoned by the Annihilation Zerg, they came to support. Enerus glanced at these guys indifferently, chuckled, and slowly got up. The power that seemed like a black hole was slowly emanating at this moment, brewing a sin and greed that swallowed everything. Since it's here, you all stay. Enerus waved his hand, and the already restless insects all pounced on at the moment. Among them, there are many terrifying insects. In an instant, a fierce battle broke out, and the Galactus messengers fell on the spot. They screamed screams and were dismembered by many insects one after another. After eating the bugs of the Galactus messenger, he naturally gained a part of the cosmic power, and immediately became stronger, and greedily pounced on the other Galactus messengers. The lowest of the dozens were all powerful messengers of the level Godfather. Under the endless swarm of annihilation insects, they died in battle one after another, extremely miserable. Run! Run away! With a stern roar, the flames of Yanwang's body were swallowed by the annihilation swarm, and he himself died tragically on the spot. Just as everything was about to end, the moment that the gap was closed by the endless swarm, a silver figure stepping on a skateboard turned into a stream of light, and suddenly fled out at the moment of closing. Escaped one, but it doesn't matter. Enerus glanced, not paying attention. From beginning to end, he didn't bother to do it, just staring at the gradually weakening Galactus with greed on his face. Soon, it will truly have the power to sweep the universe, and no god can stop it. As for the weird robots outside, what do they call shapeshifting King Kong? Oh, it's just garbage. It will destroy it with a finger, and then, the master messenger who created these big toys, the rookie chicken named Martin, will be torn up and swallowed into its stomach. Enerus looked down at everything, and for it, apart from the cosmic powers, there was really nothing worth wasting its time. This is a huge war in the entire universe. You don't need to care at all. Huh. What kind of robot is this? Suddenly, Enerus snorted and looked surprisedly at a group of brand new robots that suddenly appeared on the battlefield. From the appearance and combat mode, they were clearly in the form of insects and were very good at killing. These bug robots began to be deployed everywhere in the universe. Although the total number is small, they still attracted Enerus' interest. Interesting. Enerus murmured, watching with interest. Outside world. Martin is also observing the newly unlocked Legion. Obviously, these worms make Martin very satisfied. Dip. Congratulations to the host forces for hunting down 10 billion annihilation Zergs and unlocking the shapeshifting King Kong race, Mechanical Insects. Mechanical Insects Decepticons Legion, Character, Cruel, Speed plus 30%. Height. 8 meters, Energy, 80 million, Body, Healthy. Combat Power. Level 3, Famous Saying, Eat Everything. Evaluation. The unruly mechanical insects are the backbone of the Decepticon Legion, the Black Widow commanded Legion, and they are united with this legion, and be careful to be killed by the violent ones. Mechanical insects, just look at the name. This is a group of insect-like shapeshifting King Kong, a natural killing machine that can unlock this rare army in interstellar annihilation. Martin expressed his satisfaction. It's nothing. It's more comfortable to use insects to deal with insects. It's a pity that mechanical insects are rare shapeshifting diamonds after all, and the number is scarce. If they want to multiply, they must be expanded through the breeding warehouse. At the moment, a silver streamer shuttled through the vacuum of the universe, and came quickly towards Cybertron, with scars all over his body. Martin looked at him and directly ordered the troops not to stop him. The messenger of Galactus, it's not a good idea to break into my planet so recklessly. Martin backed his hands and stared at the languid existence. The Silver Shadowman, also known as the Silver Glider, is a prestigious existence in the entire universe, and is a trusted subordinate of Galactus. Lord Cybertron, I hope you can rescue my master. You have the ability to defeat Enerus, and only you can. The Silver Shadowman stood on the skateboard, slightly hesitation away from Martin. At the moment he hurriedly spoke. You come to me and save Galactus. Don't you know that I don't have a cold with those cosmic gods? Martin raised his eyebrows and glanced at the guy in surprise. Really, a loyal servant? My master has never offended you in any form, and there is no contradiction. Moreover, you have now launched an all-round race war with the Annihilation Zerg. The crazy fellow Orneris will never let you go. It is absorbing the power of my master. When it is completed, it will become stronger. Then it will be the first to kill you. It is better to kill Enerus immediately. The Silver Shadowman yelled, with an anxious look on his face. Martin stood up calmly, as if he had just heard a rather interesting news. Rescue Galactus. Yes, but I need to be rewarded. A generous reward, can you make it? Martin said lightly. I am willing to pay any price, Silver Shadowman responded. Very good. Martin's eyes were cast across the universe in an instant, watching countless planets. Fierce wars are erupting. This unprecedented scale of war has been going on for a month, and the number of shapeshifting diamonds killed in the process is almost impossible. Estimate. What made Martin keenly aware was that annihilating the Zerg clan, more and more powerful insects appeared, possessing bizarre super ability, faintly similar to the fluctuations in the Silver Shadowman. Galactus' cosmic power has already begun to be stripped, and a little bit has been leaked to the Endless Swarm. I will kill Enerus and defeat the entire Annihilation Zerg. This magnificent war is also time to come to an end. Martin squinted his eyes, got up. The supreme divine armor was wrapped in an instant, and raised his hand with a move. The star sword had also appeared in his palm, shining with crystal-like light. The slight display of power made the Silver Shadowman's face change, and he couldn't help but step back. You'd better bring those two gods. Enerus is very strong, very strong. The Silver Shadowman couldn't help but remind it. Unnecessary. Martin spoke coldly, and directly ordered the two gods who had been transformed into shapeshifting diamonds by him, so that they would protect the Cybertron star, and kill anyone who dares to invade. There are two gods of level single universe guarding Cybertron. Martin is very relieved. Roar. A space-time vortex was torn apart by Martin. He stepped in. The next moment, he appeared at the gate of negative space, and the Silver Shadowman appeared right after him. Many Zergs began to restless. Even Enerus, who sat high on the throne, bowed his head and watched indifferently at the moment. I'm here to chop off your worm's head. Similarly, I am also very interested in things like cosmic powers. Martin looked directly at Enerus and said, the next moment, a terrifying wave that overwhelms the entire universe suddenly burst out, and he himself strove out with a strong step, slashing towards the opponent. Under the Marvel system, the Annihilation Zerg often appeared on the scene. Although the Annihilation Zerg was barely defeated by the major forces in the universe after paying a heavy price in the Interstellar Annihilation event, it seemed to be finished, but in fact, they have always existed. In comics, you can often see the figures of these tricky guys. For example, in order to kill the old Thanos who can raise Hulk as a dog, the Silver Shadow does not hesitate to die with the old Thanos. He just attracted a lot of the annihilation of insects. Although it didn't succeed in the end. At this moment, Martin drew the star sword towards Enerus, his expression indifferent. You are Martin, the creator of these strange robots. It's no wonder that those stupid gods are so jealous of you. They are indeed powerful. But you found the wrong opponent. Enerus sneered and stood up. The large cloak behind him was torn off by it, and its two sturdy hind legs supported its body to stand steadily. At the same time, it took out a peculiar artifact. Energy control instrument. You and your race have no value. Become another dead soul under my throne. I will cut off your head and put it in my exhibition room. Martin moved. Like a bright meteor, it slammed into Enerus fiercely. The two powerful gods who started from the level single universe have already stood in the small spot of the universe at this moment. In the crashing collision, only a trace of power burst out. The wave of extinction is brewing, as if it is a whirlpool in the sea, surging everything. The aftermath that made the gods feel uneasy and cautious, at this moment, directly caused the negative space to shake, and countless Annihilation Zerg were wiped out with one blow, and turned into the most subtle microscopic particles. The whole time and space were trembling violently, and there were signs of collapse, and cracks were created. Die. Murder spread in Martin's eyes. Enerus sneered, but the compound eyes on his head solemnly felt the major threat from Martin, especially the peculiar blue crystal sword. The sharp edge of the strange blue crystal sword made it feel a bit creepy. Humanity, your arrogance has brought you a crisis of extinction. Enerus grinned and waved its artifact. In an instant, the entire negative space began to agitate, and the power of the entire world was mobilized by it and began to rush towards Martin. Martin just raised his hand at will, slashed out with a sword. The blue light instantly tore everything in front of him, and suddenly covered everything. The endless darkness that was rolling in was torn into two at the moment. Half. Not only that. Under Enerus's astonished gaze, a layer of black armor burst out of Martin's body, which was directly draped on the already powerful Supreme God armor. The King of Symbiosis, Quinton, was finally activated by Martin when he faced Enerus, the King of Insects. Under the control of Martin's own powerful will, he was controlled and fit with the Supreme God armor's super system. Quinton's strength has been more exerted. Similarly, the bonus to Martin is also considerable. The symbiote species, according to the comics, is a typical 4-dimensional creature, but the dimensionality is forcibly reduced to 3-dimensional, but that kind of growth is still retained. Even a god, wearing a symbiote battlesuit, can get very good strengthening. Boom. Martin tore through the negative space with a sword and wiped out countless powerful insects. In the next second, he raised his hand and smashed the artifact. That is, the whole person rushed up and was moving. On the surface of Quinton immediately stretched out a large amount of liquid shots, crazily entangled Enerus. Nars symbiote, you actually got this thing. Enerus took a fierce look and was shocked by Martin's combat power. Martin's power was really too strong. The Star Sword's offensive power was invincible, and the Supreme God armor's defense power was outrageous. Living body. At the moment Enerus shook and roared, Martin slashed directly. Hiss. With a flash of blue light, an arm of Enerus was cut off by Martin on the spot. You damn ape. Enerus roared, his already green eyeballs, at the moment was greener. A large amount of blood spurted from the wound. The eyeballs became greener. He turned his head and stared at Martin. The energy controller activated. The whole negative the space began to compress crazily, and endless negative energy swept in, with the power of annihilation, to crush Martin on the spot. However, Martin has the Supreme God armor in Quinton, and in the bursts of bursts, he actually resisted the terrifying force that struck. Enerus, you, the so-called king, are just lingering in the narrow silence, avoiding the wind and waves of the outside world and the more distant scenery. Martin's face was plain. He didn't seem to care about everything that happened before him, and he really didn't care. Although this battle has already shaken the entire universe, Enerus' screaming roar has already aroused the attention of the gods of the universe, and the fear of Martin, at the moment suddenly climbed to an extreme. It's as powerful as Enerus, dare to hunt the god of creation, but still can't match Martin. Where will this mankind go? A god has a numb scalp and a stiff complexion. They have continued their pride and dignity for tens of billions of years. At the moment, they lost their lives and were torn apart by a so-called mortal who came out of the earth. At this moment, the gods are trembling. It was too strong. Looking at Martin who could suppress Enerus, the gods fell into a long silence, and finally slowly disappeared in a long sigh. The negative space had been shattered, and two powerful figures came out, tearing everything to pieces. Die, you are out of date, and I will cherish your head. Martin's expression was indifferent, and the sword lights flickered, almost cutting the universe into several pieces. In the sneer, the muscles all over his body bulged, his eyes were sharp, brewing the coercion of terrifying mighty force, boiling like roaring Wang Yang. Each energy particle can easily destroy a complete planet. At the level of level single universe, one's own body is equivalent to an entire universe, and it has the power to restart a universe. Enerus was wounded repeatedly, and more hideous scars were continuously produced on his body. That annihilating power originally possessed the terrifying power of slaughtering the gods, but at this moment, it was disappearing at an astonishing speed. Until, the entire negative space was strongly destroyed by Martin, and after countless Zergs completely collapsed, Enerus finally came to its end. This fierce battle has also come to the final stage at this moment. Martin didn't give Enerus a chance to come back, and he attacked and killed him with his powerful speed to the extreme, leaving a lot of phantoms in this space of time. For a moment, he seemed to be flooded in every corner. Yes. The most central Ornaris is constantly eroding. Enerus was at a disadvantage until its energy controller was smashed by Martin with a sword. It was originally blown off by the bursting energy wave, and its internal organs were exposed and shattered in a large area before it became unbelievably wide. Eyes roared. How is this possible? No one is my opponent. Martin sneered, holding the sword of stars high, aiming directly at Enerus' head, and said indifferently, "Don't think that if you catch Galactus, it means you are stronger than Galactus. In fact, the Galactus you know is never full. Status, Galactus is just a weak god who is starving and crazy. If you fill him up, believe me, he will become your nightmare." Enerus looked at the star sword that was smashed by this sword with Canthus. The worms gradually developed a weird sense of collapse, and the rule of death appeared in the surroundings, showing a complex expression to it. No. Why is this? I am the king of annihilation. I want to conquer a great existence in the universe, but I was killed by your damn ape. Enerus roared again and again. The worm's body was cut off too many body parts one after another by Martin. At this moment, his eyes were round, and finally he roared, and a huge head rose into the sky. Enerus, dead. In front of the powerful Martin, he was stronger than Erneris, and he was at the end of his life. Everything was destroyed by Martin with the star sword. He. I want this guy's body, it tastes very delicious if you allow it. Quentin poked his head out and greedily stared at Eneru's broken body. Up to you. Martin said lightly. Quentin was so excited that he immediately stretched out a liquid tentacles and quickly swept the battlefield. Not even a drop of blood was let go. All were rolled back, and then he began to chew happily. A level single universe Insect King tastes absolutely delicious, and after eating the Insect King, Quentin's life level also ushered in a leap, swallowing the corpse of a god. It is too useful for its growth. Next, there are more important things. Martin turned his head to look at the collapsed negative space. The negative worlds that were completely opposite to the normal space at this moment collapsed layer by layer, leaking at will, all of which have serious erosion and damage to the real world. It would be troublesome for a weaker god to break in. But there was a guy who risked his death and shuttled in the collapsed negative space. He was very desperate. After doing his best, he finally tore the shackles that bound Galactus, and dragged out the almost unconscious invincible Galactus. The negative energy eroded away, and the Silver Shadowman was extremely difficult to resist. Most of his power went to protect his master Galactus. Thank you, Lord Cybertron, you really did it, you saved the universe. The Silver Shadowman barely escaped, scarred, and after noticing Martin's indifferent gaze, he immediately dragged Galactus away. Thank you loudly. Martin stared at it for a while, then said lightly, thank me. You thanked me too early, stop talking nonsense, and give me the planet Devourer. What do you want to do? Definitely is asking for my reward. Martin finally gave a sneer. Do you really think that he is the savior? No, Galactus is the creator god of this universe, and it is the key to stabilizing this universe. Why do you want to fight him? You don't need to get him because of your strength. You are already the savior of this universe. You saved the world twice. The Silver Shadow Man was shocked, and the mercury-like body was suddenly tightened at this moment, and his heart was even more dull to the extreme. The most worrying thing really happened. Martin really wants to hunt the planet Devourer. A terrifying existence that is stronger and more terrifying than Eneru's, and has a more far-reaching vision. Is it about to be born? The Silver Shadow looked at Martin on the opposite side, under unprecedented pressure. The other side was obviously just a seemingly calm existence. Even the symbiote that chewed Eneru's corpse looked even more terrifying. But it was just such Martin who made the Silver Shadow Man dare not move, because instinct was telling him that if he moved, he would definitely die. Give Galactus to me, or you will die. Galactus messengers are loyal to Galactus if they dare to come. Now you are the only one left. Think about it. Martin sneered again and again. Didn't you hear? Either you will leave Galactus or I will eat you. Quentin, who had just swallowed the body of Eneru's, at the moment kept trying Martin's mind, and suddenly realized that Martin seemed to not care about many things at all, or that he didn't bother to pay attention to it, as long as it didn't. If you cross the line, you can be active at will. Immediately, Quentin screamed loudly, majestic. Silver Shadow Man's face was gloomy. He took a deep breath, and said in a deep voice, I can't give up my master. Martin did it directly. Even the star sword was useless, and he smashed it with a punch. In an instant, the time and space in front of him were smashed through Martin's fist, tearing out a long void. The Silver Shadowman's face changed in an instant, and he let out a low roar, and the few cosmic powers in his body completely burst out. Even at the expense of his life force, he kicked the skateboard under his feet to try to block the punch. The result can be imagined, and it is of no use. Hiss. Everything was smashed into pieces, the skateboard was broken, and the Silver Shadowman himself was also hit by Martin at the moment. Give me Galactus early, you have more future, but you have to stop it, why bother? Martin shook his head, raised his hand, took Galactus in his hand, and moved the big man directly. Great master, will the planet Devourer give me food too? Quentin smiled in a voice full of malice and whispered. Shut up, Galactus is of great value, you can't move. Martin said indifferently. Quentin immediately fell silent obediently and reintegrated into the Supreme God armor. With Martin's departure, all that was left was chaos everywhere, not even a single corpse was left. All of them were evaporated in an instant in the fierce battle. The confrontation between the gods and spirits, the low-level existence does not even have the qualifications to participate, a little closer, will only be wiped from the world in an instant, and even a trivial aftermath can't be tolerated. The universe is silent. The countless insects scattered throughout the universe collapsed in the negative space, and the moment the Annihilation Insect King died, there was collective chaos and restlessness, and they were neighing in confusion. In just this moment of hesitation, those shape-shifting King Kong and the armies of various planets wiped out a large number of insect swarms. What's wrong? What happened? Bah! These damn bugs are suddenly stupid. Leave it alone, just kill them. Wait, they are running away? The whole universe was caught in countless lives suffering from the long war. At this moment, there was a lot of surprises. Seeing that somehow began to flee wildly, and the previous fear of death and organization ability seemed to disappear suddenly, I was immediately excited. Pursue these bugs with red eyes. The entire universe began to frantically encircle the insect swarm, and no one would be so stupid to give up this precious opportunity. Some smart guys have faintly guessed something. This kind of whole race has fallen into confusion and chaos. It can only be. Is the King of Annihilation Zurg killed? The previous battle at the edge of the universe, over multiple dimensions, was someone fighting the Annihilation King? Who is it that can kill the Horror Insect King who captured Galactus in one fell swoop? Soon, a name naturally appeared in the hearts of all living entities. Martin. A man who creates miracles, God too, is nothing to this man. This is a terrifying existence walking in the distant future, and now stands at the top of countless ancient existences who must look up and fear. Cyboden. Someone muttered the name in a low voice, looked at the shape-shifting King Kong who continued to chase the insect swarm with complex expressions, and took a deep breath. It's really scary. If there weren't these horrible shape-shifting diamonds, the whole universe would not know how many planets turned into a paradise of insect swarms, or how many races and civilizations would have been swallowed up by these evil insects. Shape-shifting King Kong. At this moment, the entire universe has witnessed the powerful and terrifying potential of this mechanical race. In the past, when they mentioned Cybertron, they would only think of Martin. Martin's light had already obscured everything, but it was only at this moment that they suddenly realized that this race created by Martin was actually far behind many ancient species. At the forefront. It was also through this battle with the Annihilation Zurg that shape-shifting Gold had just completely stood at the top level of the universe's species, powerful and mysterious, and well known to the entire universe. Then, Invincible Galactus, let me study your mystery carefully, don't let me down. Martin stared at Galactus who was slowly waking up indifferently, with a sneer at the corner of his mouth. The energetic planet Devourer, at the moment finally awakened, looking at the surroundings with a confused face, subconsciously, a huge roar that rang through the world had already sounded. Asshole. The invincible Galactus will never accept any form of. Galactus looked up to the sky and roared, his huge body, even though it was full of scars, stood still in the cosmic starry sky at this moment, with a kind of anger that soared to the sky. To shut up. Martin whispered. Galactus's roar stopped abruptly, and he looked down in amazement, staring at Martin with wide eyes. Martin. You saved me. He looked around, looked down at the entire universe, looked at the countless swarms of insects being hunted down, and immediately understood everything. The two gods confronted each other, and suddenly fell into silence. Weak Galactus was hungry, even though the hunger was driving him crazy, especially when he was evacuated by Orneris too much cosmic energy, but he still endured and suppressed the irritability in his heart. What do you want? Galactus looked down at Martin and said coldly, you saved me, and you never do meaningless things. Every 25 of your actions have a strong purpose. You saved me. What do you want to get through me? Galactus looked indifferent. For Martin, he definitely knew something. Other gods have been talking about this guy recently. Even if they hold a cosmic summit, they are still talking about this human being. This, human beings comparable to gods. First, I want your cosmic power, Martin said. Yes, but it's useless for you. My power is the manifestation of a rule in a single universe. For you, it's not very useful. Galactus stretched out a finger enough to pierce the planet and pointed it at Martin. There are a lot of cosmic powers emerging. Martin himself did not accept it, but directly stored it through the Supreme God armor. Second, I need you to eat and give me the cosmic tapeworm in your stomach, Martin said lightly. This time, Galactus was stunned, and the scarred face showed a little dazed. How do you know there is a bug in my stomach? And even the name. Cosmic tapeworm, this peculiar parasite, Martin definitely knows that, in fact, the reason Galactus is so hungry that it still eats after shopping for more than 10 billion years is essentially because of the cosmic tapeworm in Galactus. This tapeworm is the monster that is never fed. It is also this tapeworm that makes Galactus always hungry and frantically looking for new food. 99% of the food was digested by this cosmic tapeworm. And this bug is one of Martin's important goals. This is a goal that even Galactus can't figure out now. Because, the present cosmic tapeworm, in the future, will be the daughter of Galactus, Janata. Only after Galactus has eaten enough, the cosmic tapeworm will leave and start a new round of life, becoming the daughter of Galactus. Definitely, the daughter of Galactus will also be hungry forever, because there will be new cosmic tapeworms in her stomach. This is how the strange race of cosmic tapeworms multiplies. Every Galactus is equivalent to a pregnant woman, absorbing nutrients frantically to feed the cosmic tapeworm in her stomach. It's amazing, but it's true. As long as you can give me enough food, I can give you the cosmic tapeworm. I would have long wanted to get rid of it. Galactus screamed. If it weren't for this bug, it would have been in the form of a life messenger, creating life everywhere. Went. Galactus still doesn't know the value of cosmic tapeworms. If this falls into Martin's hands and cultivates well, then the near future will be a ready-made quasi-creation god. Third, I need your heart. The real heart. Finally, Martin finally showed his hideous fangs. Heart. I don't understand what you were talking about. Galactus has a cold voice. Martin gave a sneer. Stop pretending, Galactus. Since I ask you for it, it means that I have enough assurance that you, as one of the multi-universe creation gods, if you have always been as weak as you are now, why can it be tied with the other four? In the final analysis, it is because of the special heart of Galactus. That, the super artifact named Ultimate Eraser. Even mortals can use it at will. Just lightly hit this artifact similar to a lighter. It is enough to instantly obliterate the existence of a multi-level universe. Like Sithorn, the god of black magic before, if Martin had the Ultimate Eraser, at the time, he wouldn't have to collect any infinite gems to add bonuses to him, he could completely cripple Sithorn in one move. And the Ultimate Eraser is also the biggest reliance of the planet Devourer and the unknown mystery. Galactus, give me the Ultimate Eraser. This life-saving grace will even be paid off by you. Martin pressed on every step of the way. Galactus was silent for a long time, his voice indifferent. The Ultimate Eraser is not on me in other universes. As for which me is, I regret that I don't know, you will be disappointed. Martin stared at Galactus for a long time, but suddenly laughed. In this case, wait for one day in the future, when I see you who holds the Ultimate Eraser, you must remember to give it to me. At least, lend it to me. One time. Galactus gave a cold snort and stopped speaking. Then, now I will find a way to fill your stomach like a black hole and give birth to me as soon as possible. Martin whispered. Before Galactus could speak in surprise, he stretched out his hand. In an instant, in the flesh and blood of his palm, a black cube grew out of the flesh and blood of his palm, with strange patterns flickering on it, exuding mystery and nobility. Breath. This is your source of fire. Galactus looked moved, lowered his head, and carefully looked at this mysterious and unknown artifact. No god knows where this artifact came from. Even the other four of the five gods, exhausting multi-universe, have never heard of this thing. More importantly, Galactus stared straight at the cube, and the huge energy transmitted from it made him swallow frantically. Eat as soon as possible, and transform into the form of Life Messenger. I need you to repay me. Martin chuckled inexplicably. Galactus hesitated for a moment, and finally opened his mouth, frantically devouring this terrifying energy group of superb quality, wave after wave, almost endless. The energy that was swallowed alone was enough to destroy countless galaxies. As time went on, finally, this super high-quality super absolute amount of energy made the hungry Galactus feel full, which was unprecedented. In the excitement and ecstasy on his face, Galactus finally bulged his belly and suddenly tore a crack. A light ball came out from the gap. Get it? Martin's eyes flashed, and he grabbed it. The cosmic tapeworm, the descendant of the creation god with unlimited potential, is here. There was a bright light in Martin's eyes, and he grabbed the ball of light in his hand in an instant, and floated it carefully. In this light cluster that is constantly wriggling, seeming to be changing into a new life, at the deepest point, Martin stretches in with a strong will and vision, and can clearly see a beautiful white creature, which is constantly twisting. Every subtle movement can cause the entire light cluster to change. The entire tapeworm was decomposing, and finally, with the sharp ascent of the light cluster, an egg was left at the core. Very well, Galactus, the transaction between you and me is 2/3 completed. I am waiting for the day I get your Ultimate Eraser. Martin nodded in satisfaction, and collected the ever-changing blob of light at lightning speed, forcibly cutting off Galactus's vision. Galactus looked at him with a confused look, always feeling as if he had overlooked something extremely important. Cosmic tapeworm. Is there any vital value? In an instant, Martin left, leaving only scarred, and started a new evolution of Galactus. The old and decayed body faded, and the bright golden light exuded holiness and nobility, gradually covering the original color. After the brilliance of half of the universe dissipated, a golden Galactus was already standing in the starry sky of the universe, and the huge and profound aura of destruction in the whole body dissipated. Only the rich and extreme life fluctuations. From this moment on, there was no Galactus anymore. Only the messenger of life. Congratulations, Life Messenger, you have fulfilled your long-cherished wish. 4 figures slowly emerged, surrounded by the Life Messenger, sighing. It's really not easy. Galactus has only become a Life Messenger for more than 10 billion years. I feel good. Although I paid some price, the terrifying hunger really disappeared completely. Galactus looked at his body and soul. It was a kind of leap like metamorphosis. More high-end, more powerful, and more complete. Especially, the bug in his stomach was gone, and he unloaded the biggest burden. Martin asked you for the cosmic tapeworm and the ultimate eraser. Why does he know you so much? Annihilation Indifferent Road. I don't know, this is also the biggest puzzle in him. He always has a power that confuses all the gods. Galactus whispered. The creation gods fell into a long silence. Soon, in this universe, there will be no more power to restrain Martin. Even Enerus died in his hands. He is rapidly becoming stronger in a way that we cannot understand. Infinite deep voice. It's very interesting. I'm witnessing the rise of an existence that may surpass the level single universe. Maybe someday in the future, he can stand at the same level as the ontology of me. No, this is absolutely impossible, and I will not allow this to happen. Death snorted. Even if she faintly realizes that Martin is already at the absolute top of this universe, in the distant future, maybe there is a slight possibility to really cross that step and step into a level of terror equivalent to the truly immortal noble beings. Diversified level universe. However, as long as there is a slight possibility, she will not allow this to happen. The species created by this guy has huge potential, but it is not under my control at all. This guy is simply a huge amount of disaster and harm. This kind of behavior can bypass the multi-universe law from the beginning. The voice of Death came out slowly, with a cold expression on his face. This is the thing that really makes Death care. For the soul of any species, she may not want it, but you can't help but give it. Originally, Death did not have so much interest in observing the countless races of the multi-universe. How many races contributed to her so many souls? She was not so boring. Even if some guys died, they would not come to her in the form of souls. Death never cares. However, the species created by Martin is an exception. It is completely unrestricted and restricted by the death rule. It directly ignores and immunes. Life is born from Martin's hands. When it is dead, it will sleep in Martin's hands. This kind of thing is already an infringement on the authority of Death. Absolutely not allowed. With Martin as an enemy, the risks and benefits paid are not proportional at all. There is no need. Although he cannot find a way to advance to the multi-universe level for the time being, there is no need to compete with him at all. Annihilation said indifferently. Death sneered again and again. You definitely don't care about Martin. What you really pay attention to is your duplication. Do you want to cultivate him into the Master of Chaos? The Lord of Chaos is the manifestation of the multi-universe rule, which is equivalent to their 5 great creator gods in terms of specifications. The emergence of the Lord of Chaos and the Lord of Order is inevitable. They should be our carefully cultivated and attracted goals. Their appearance is inevitable, and the same level as me is also inevitable. They are attached to a cosmic boundary and cannot be in the future. Okay, I'm sure Martin, it's a waste of time. Death, your profile is low. Annihilation speaks indifferently. Death was just a sneer, but he fell into silence repeatedly chanting the name of the Lord of Chaos and the Lord of Order in his heart. Chaos and order are the most noteworthy. Martin, even if he has reached the limit in level single universe, it is nothing more than that. It is not a multi-level universe, and sooner or later dies with the universe. The Lord of Chaos, the Lord of Order. Death was silent, slowly disappearing. Several others also left. The life messenger stood in place, and soon rushed to the nearest dead planet, and began to fulfill his authority to transform the environment and create life. Martin came back with the rapidly changing ball of light, very satisfied. Since the mature cosmic tapeworm dissipated into this light cluster, the change speed of the entire light cluster has suddenly accelerated, and this light cluster is changing towards a brand new life. Huge amounts of light shined on everything. What a shocking wave. Numerous scientists gathered around, staring wide-eyed, and their electronic eyes were about to protrude, frantically studying this light cluster that gradually emitted strong life fluctuations. The level of life has gradually stabilized in the level Godfather. Is it a level Godfather who was born? This is too amazing. The ambulance continued to scan the data, exclaiming. It's really amazing, but when you think about it, level Godfather is nothing at all in the beginning. At any rate, it's the ultimate accumulation of Galactus's shopping and eating for more than 10 billion years. Soon, a vague figure appeared, slender figure. When the light dissipated, a figure appeared in front of everyone. This is a little Galactus. Janata, daughter of Galactus. Where is my father? Ganata opened her eyes and looked at everyone in the room. She was startled, her purple eyes widened, and she looked at everyone in amazement. Your father, Galactus, has already given you to me, so you have to work hard and try to give full play to your value. I never raise waste here. Martin looked at the beautiful and unspoken girl indifferently, with a look of admiration on his face. I have to say that she is indeed a beauty, no matter her appearance, figure, birth, or strength, she can be called the true goddess in Marvel. And now, this goddess is owned by Martin. How so? Janata was stunned, with a confused look. Although she had no memories of when she was a cosmic tapeworm, she knew she was a descendant of Galactus, and Galactus was her father, but why did the father give her away? Janata wanted to cry a little, and at the same time, his stomach was groaning and a little hungry. You have plenty of energy in your body and look delicious. Janata blinked her eyes, her sad emotions quickly dissipated, but her instinctive pursuit of food came to her heart. Everyone present felt a sense of sight that Beast was staring at. At this time, Martin suddenly sounded. This little Galactus seemed to be born with a peculiar ability, that is, to be able to see through the energy content of all food at a glance. In the comics, this little girl is on the Earth, even watching TV, automatically calorie calculations for foods in various S. If you want to eat something, I have it. As long as you are willing to follow me, there is as much food as you want. Martin spoke with a cold face, and when he raised his hand on the spot, a large amount of energy surged out, and Ganado was enveloped in an instant. This is the pure energy from the fire source. Even Galactus felt shocked, not to mention the mere Janata, which gave birth to the power of a super civilization. In an instant, Janata's hunger was greatly relieved. It's amazing. Ganata looked at Martin with a shocked face, her big beautiful eyes blinked, and Martin's gaze seemed to be not looking at someone, but a living food. I have done so much for you, you have to repay me well. Martin patted Ganata on the head again, and little Galactus narrowed his eyes comfortably. Daughter of Galactus. A natural god who can accept Ganata, as long as he is trained carefully, he will definitely have a strong god guarding Cybertron in the future. I really want to say that there are any shortcomings. I'm hungry again. Ganata stared at Martin with wide eyes. It's just that this appetite is too big. Martin took a deep breath, raised his hand and threw another energy ball, and then directly called Yuriko and Wanda over, and said, "This little thing will be handed over to you. Take care. If she is hungry, think of a way. Go to a certain planet in the universe and eat whatever she wants." Martin walked away with a headache. The ghost knows what level Ganata has to eat to be really full. According to the memory of the previous life, it seems that the new cosmic tapeworm is in the egg shape, and it needs a huge amount of energy to hatch. All Ganata are right. The food is so crazy? I just hope she doesn't be like Galactus, otherwise it will be in trouble. Martin shook his head. Although it was flawed, it was generally a good deal. As time goes by, little Galactus is trying hard to adapt to a new life. Although it is a headache, you have to rush to take a bite to taste everything. It is a top foodie. Like tall buildings, roads, machinery, and weapons, there are often inexplicable gaps, as if they were bitten by a dog. There is no doubt that it must be a good thing for Janatarga, who is scurrying around the planet. For this kind of little thing, Martin just smiled casually when he knew it, and didn't take it seriously. The most important thing now is to continuously improve his life level and move towards a higher level as much as possible. Multi-level universe, promotion is not so easy, it takes more time. Until one day, Martin frowned suddenly and turned to look in a certain direction. There are a lot of powerful auras across the starry sky of the universe, and there are a huge number of them. Each one is a strong level godfather to start, and this kind of fluctuation is very familiar. Cosmic Celestial Group. Martin's face became cold, and he got up slowly. He saw that a group of cosmic gods went straight to the earth, while more and more powerful gods were watching his direction in Yao Yao. This is, Martin's eyes narrowed, has the fourth audit of life on Earth begun? Numerous celestial groups were dispatched strongly, and this scene shocked the entire universe. At the critical moment when the Annihilation Zerg is still being annihilated by the major civilizations of the universe, at the moment when the shadow of war has not completely dissipated, the Cosmic Celestial Group actually dispatched on such a large scale? The direction they are going is Earth. No, most of them went to the Earth, and some of the toughest guys actually lay in the universe, looking at the master of Cybertron. What do they want to do? Do you want to deal with this mysterious and dangerous horrible existence in Martin? Everyone was stunned. Even the gods were watching dignifiedly at this moment, thinking about all the possibilities. As the center of this unknown disaster, Martin stared at everything indifferently. His gaze seemed to be above time and space. Everything could not be blocked. A trivial gaze could cause countless lives to humble, bow down and sing praises. Martin has the qualifications, watching everything condescendingly. Even if the opponent is the universe god group. Looking at this fanfare posture, it is clear that it is for the fourth review. Is this going to be the final judgment of life on Earth? Martin stood on the tall building, bathing in the gust of wind coming from Roar, and there was a clear sneer in the raised head. The first audit, millions of years ago, came in search of cosmic locusts, and by the way changed life on Earth. The second review, 20,000 years ago, will destroy the anomalous who defeated the eternal. The third audit, 1,000 years ago, defeated the world tree gods in World War I, and the Earth experiments were rescued. Now, it is the fourth audit, which is the ultimate audit. It succeeded. From then on, the cosmic gods will not waste time on the Earth, but if it fails, the entire Earth will usher in the genocide of these gods. Humans, undersea people, mutants, and other people will all be killed by these gods, just like the anomalous 20,000 years ago. Definitely, what deserves more attention than this is Martin, the Lord of Cybertron, is, in principle, also considered as a human being on Earth today, and has to be reviewed by the gods. Especially the shape-shifting King Kong race created by Martin has independent self-intelligence and a special technology tree. Creator. What should we do? The T-Master of Level Single Universe has clearly felt the indifferent gaze, and at the moment directly found Martin. You don't need to be too nervous, no matter how much rubbish, it will be a bunch of rubbish after all. Martin looked cold. The group of cosmic gods often appears as tool people. In the comics, Tony's anti-celestial battle frame, Godkiller Battle Frame 2, Avengers Secret Headquarters, etc., are all made from the corpses of the universe gods. For these mechanical gods, Martin, who possesses the supreme authority to overcome all the machinery, directly stood in a condescending perspective and looked down, never minding it. You only need to remember one thing, Master Titan, these mass-produced gods, each universe has a lot of them, and they can be remanufactured as much as they are lost. They are not worth much at all, only those with the highest sequence. The gods need us to pay attention to. Martin looked cold, his gaze crossed time and space, staring at the many cold eyes, without the slightest retreat or hesitation. As long as you dare to move, I will kill you now. No one doubts Martin's will. The gods at the top of the sequence. Master Titan whispered. Martin said lightly, in the entire multi-universe, there are 1,256 models of the color celestial group, among which more than 1,000 models are mechanical garbage scattered in countless universes. They are of little value and often lost, even if they are killed. The senior members of the celestial group never care. However, those gods with the highest sequence are unique and exhaustive multi-universe. A sequence has only one model, and a model will always have only one individual. It cannot be mass-produced and cannot be copied by the multi-universe's own rule. They are formidable enemies that we should pay attention to, but just these things in front of us. Martin sneered. Look at these gods, one by one, all of them are majestic. The worst is that the strong-level Godfather starts off and overwhelms the entire universe, but in reality? Ha ha ha, most of them have no value. Among these guys, only one is a precious god in a unique sequence. Martin slowly got up and sneered. But this guy went directly to the Earth, probably because he is worried that there will be a second me on the Earth. Prepare, Master Titan, war will definitely break out, between us and these gods. There is bound to be a war. And the battle that is about to start is limited to a single universe, and it is a trivial prelude to the future multi-level universe war between the two sides. Because this will be a huge battle for the strongest mechanical race in the multi-universe. As long as it starts, it will inevitably end with the complete extinction of one party. Martin has always had the clearest understanding of the cruelty and bloody of Marvel as a whole. This has never been a superhero's playhouse for criminals. Especially for the cosmic gods who seem to be Buddhists, who are completely indifferent to the deaths of many gods and the miserable fate of their transformed corpses, Martin's eyes are extremely clear and cold. The cosmic god group, from the core logic program, revealed a kind of brutality. It was first created by the eternal and dark gods, and then followed the eternal anti-water, annihilated the dark god group, and from then on. In the early days of multi-universe, relying on the terrifying mass production quantity and super high race quality, the observers who were also the multi-universe overlord species did not want to do things. He began to shrink, and since then remained silent on all events in the multi-universe, but was transferred to perform the role of Marvel, historian, recording various major events. Immediately afterwards, the tyrannical multi-universe technological civilization, aspirant civilization, because of its powerful mechanical and technological attainments, received the attention and declaration of war from the cosmic celestial group. In this battle, the celestial team fought the most difficult, and it was even more fierce than the original battle with the observers. Because, the aspirant's technology tree has climbed to a terrifying level, and actually imitated the cosmic god group and created a mass-produced robot, God's Messenger. The hordes of God's messengers have caused cruel damage to the cosmic gods, and that's fine. The mass-produced level single-universe robots can't really hurt the seniors of the cosmic gods. However, what really touched the cosmic celestial group is precisely the aspirant who created the horror mecha of the multi-level universe. It is also known as the first battle armor of Marvel, and it is also the strongest battle armor in history that Iron Man Tony Stark has briefly controlled Godkiller. With a normal punch, there is the power of 1,000,000 gods. The entire cosmic celestial group was crazy. They tried all the costs, and the high levels did everything, regardless of casualties or losses. Finally, before the Godslayer's armor was fully fired, after paying a terrible price, they wiped out the aspirants. The battle armor of the Godslayer was also lost in the depths of the multi-universe, and there was no news. No one knew where this Marvel first battle armor was, and which universe it would be in which day, was discovered and controlled by the lucky ones. In these two wars, the dominance of the cosmic celestial group was undoubtedly revealed. They cruelly interfered with the evolution of many lives, exterminating the intelligent species that did not fit their minds without hesitation, and then created new lives before reviewing them. All the mechanical and technological enemies that can threaten them will be exterminated without hesitation. This is the cosmic gods group. These seemingly Buddhist guys are just because the mass-produced gods are all the time. It is not worth their time to waste. Master Titan looked at Martin with a solemn expression, carefully observed the far-sighted creator, and said in a deep voice, "Are you sure? In the future, sooner or later, we will have a multi-level universe war that destroys everything." Since its birth, Master Titan has been collecting all the information about himself as the creator through various channels. Don't get me wrong. This is not to betray or unfaithful, but to observe from a personal perspective. Loyalty belongs to loyalty, and evaluation belongs to evaluation. Master T, a knowledgeable guy, has his own set of rules. The result was very shocking and pleasantly surprised by Master Titan. Although Martin did not have the kind of super ability at the level of intelligence, his vision and vision were beyond everything in a way that Master Titan could not analyze and understand. Facts have proved that all the orders for the future given by Martin, the leader, have never been wrong. Every time it is a success. Every decision is vital to the future and transcends the boundaries of time and space. Insight. This is a terrible thing, and it is also the reason why Master Titan is convinced and determined to work hard. No superior is more perfect than Martin, with powerful strength, far-reaching vision, ability to accurately judge the current situation, and herding management of subordinates with ability, allowing subordinates to give full play to their strengths without worrying I will be liquidated and rejected. No leader is more perfect than Martin. Therefore, for the viewpoint that Martin puts forward at the moment, Master Titan is extremely solemn. It's just a matter of time. Before we completely tear our faces and let the seniors of the cosmic gods notice our specialness, we must weaken the power of the cosmic gods as much as possible, especially the very few unique sequence gods. See kill one by one. Martin glanced at Master Titan strangely, wondering if it was an illusion. The old guy seemed to be thinking about some weird things in his head, but soon he didn't care. Look. Martin pointed to the direction of the earth and said lightly, "The only sequence god has already acted on the earth, and no one on the whole earth is an opponent of this guy." Martin remembers that this guy's model seems to be the first verdict. A large number of deities arrived on the earth, and every deity was surging with terrible divine light, flooding the entire earth. This tiny blue planet was directly dominated by a terrifying figure at this moment, and a famous human was trembling, watching this scene dully. These guys, haven't they been to Earth once before, and then killed by Martin? Why are there so many now? No, damn it, where does the Earth offend these nasty guys and keep coming down? The people on Earth are extremely angry and panic, and even more aggrieved and resentful. If the Earth also has its own gods, whatever aliens you care about, kill them directly if you dare to come, regardless of the reason. At this time, many people have a vague understanding of why Martin is sometimes so cruel and violent, and often ransacks his family. It can really save a lot of trouble. With a serious face, Dr. Strange put on his red, green and floating cloak, and immediately found Avengers. Prepare for the worst 25. The actions of these cosmic gods have always had a very powerful purpose. There must be something on the Earth that attracts them. What's on Earth, Martin, or who? These guys are here for trouble. Tony stared at these big guys fiercely, and at the same time began to wonder how good it would be to transform it into a battle armor on the spot if he could get a complete corpse of the god. Dr. Strange solemnly said, "Martin once killed these fellows. This time, maybe he came to destroy the Earth." As the current supreme magician, Dr. Strange flipped through Kamar Taj's various records and learned some ancient information. At the moment, he faintly guessed that these guys have come to the Earth many times, even if they came originally for the sake of mankind, for observation. They're guinea pigs come. At the same time, many heroes have noticed that this time, the leading deity looked different. This is a very tall guy, not to mention the size of the kilometer. The colorful brilliance of the whole body is shining, as if it is the center of many gods, the source of countless models, and the faint coercion also reveals a nobleness far surpassing other gods. The first ruling master, the only sequence god, compared with other mass-produced gods, was born noble. You know, Every single god has participated in the battle to destroy the Dark God group in the first firmament before the birth of multi-universe. Earth, a dangerous planet, actually gave birth to Martin's deformed monster. Several light bulbs lit up in the light bulbs of the first verdict, and they quickly scanned the entire Earth. Every god is doing this kind of thing. They collect all the information on the Earth, history, culture, technology, values. According to the rules, these are all within the scope of the audit standards. Obviously, it is an ordinary planet. The first verdict was a little surprised when analyzing the information feedback. Except for a very small number of individuals who are very, very good, such as wisdom, potential, and even reached the level of God, this does not cause him to care too much about his existence. He came here only for Martin. He deliberately traveled through many universes and came here. He wanted to make sure that he defeated the famous black magic god, chaos god, and Hethon, the god of Hades, and defeated all of them. What kind of civilization the human being named Martin was born out of? There is no obvious difference from the Earth in other universes. There are countless multi-universes in such a mediocre Earth, but on this Earth, a Martin was born. The first verdict was surprised. This Earth is so ordinary, it makes no difference. Only Martin is special. This can be confirmed. According to the analysis of the logical system, Martin's own power and the destiny of this universe are the real reason for defeating Sithorn. With this result, the first verdict was disappointed. The gods who have a strong interest in creating and destroying life most hope for the emergence of an interesting civilization, not an interesting individual. In this case, follow the normal process for review. This planet, this civilization, there is not much value at all. The first verdict returned to his indifference and began to coordinate all the information. At this time, Stephen came to negotiate as the supreme magician. The first verdict was too lazy to pay attention to this tiny human being. You are the noble gods. I really don't know what is on the Earth that you care about. Martin? He already has his own planet, he is not a human being. Stephen's heart went into flames anxiously. The destructiveness of these gods is so powerful that they have now been attacked by some super criminals in the army. The main intelligent species on this planet, human beings, are born with the desire to kill and destroy. Although they have created a brilliant culture and history, and established a complete moral system and ethical guidelines, many of them do not abide by these. The number one Judgment Lord looked at the tiny humans who had begun to attack the gods piecemeal and muttered to himself. Stephen's heart shook, his face changed wildly. Then, I, the noble sequential deity number one adjudicator, judged the life on Earth as a failed product. Exterminate. Humanity should be extinct. The huge amounts of sound resounded throughout the planet. The divine light surging around the body of the first ruling master included every subtlest life, and the supreme coercion and nobility were pressing on everyone at this moment. Hearing this voice, the whole Earth fell silent for a while, and immediately yelled in shock and confusion. Any group will inevitably give birth to lunatics who are not afraid of death. They are happy to challenge all the impossible. Many superhero and super criminals, many people suddenly laughed at this moment. This is a smirk. Just right, I was planning to kill a god and study it. In a small country in Eastern Europe, Dr. Destruction suddenly flew up, followed by powerful war machines. He also possessed powerful magic skills. At this moment, he directly killed the nearest deity. A magnificent mountain in the east. Daniel, since you have inherited the power of the dragon, you will be a new generation of Iron Fist. When the last Iron Fist was at its peak, Burning Vitality punched Phoenix Force. I hope you don't insult his name. Lei Gong looked solemn. Daniel Rand bowed his head respectfully, clasped his fists, and said in a deep voice, "So, are these cosmic gods my first enemy?" "No, to be precise, it is your first enemy and ours. In this battle, the entire Kunlun will participate. In defending the Earth, all humans have the same goal." A terrifying dragon chant sounded. Kunlun Mountain's most powerful existence, a dragon named Shou Lao, suddenly rose up, bringing the powerful practitioners of Kunlun Mountain, and directly rushed to the nearest deity. Many forces have taken action, especially those super criminals. One by one, they are wicked and evil. Even Hydra began to mobilize various forces to besiege these cosmic gods. My goal is to rule the world. How can we let you group of stupid scraps go on doing this? Red Skull sneered again and again. The Earth's human beings have been killed by these miscellaneous things. Is he still ruling a terrible ass? Let alone dye the Earth his color. Bumblebee, let's go too. Peter Parker grabbed the venom and sat directly in the cab of Bumblebee. With a roar, the eager Camaro began to gallop. Hey, Peter! Where did you get the sports car from? Aunt May suddenly yelled. But Peter didn't care about Aunt May anymore. Don't worry, Peter, Sonic and the others have started to act. These gods have already provoked the Creator. We will also participate in the attack on the gods. Bumblebee said solemnly. Roar! With an earth-shattering roar, the burning Serta woke up from his long sleep, brandishing a twilight sword, and violently slaying a cosmic god. The whole earth began to restlessly. Fierce wars broke out on all continents, and waves in the ocean were surging, and waves swept toward a god standing in the ocean, and Atlantis also acted. Even the leader of the alien race on the moon, the Black Bat King, had a gloomy face, entangled for a moment, and slammed directly towards the earth. An unprecedented battle broke out, and many gods had their own opponents. Senseless struggle. The first verdict remained motionless, just watching all this indifferently. He has experienced too many things like this. No one will accept the fate of death willingly. Even in the face of the Creator, he will resist desperately, struggling to grasp the hope that does not exist at all. Originally, you could pass the audit, and your culture and values have basically met the audit standards. In the light bulb of the first verdict, there was a cold glow. However, a special guy has emerged on your planet, powerful, overbearing, mysterious, and possessing the ability to activate all machinery. This is original sin, enslaving the living gods, and distorting the will of the gods. The Lord of the First Judgment looked at the entire planet caught in the flames of war and extinction, with hostility surging all over his body. The gods who were killed, the corpses were used, and they were transformed, he didn't care about them. But Martin is different. The more he understands, the more anxious he is. This kind of control over everything should not exist at all in principle, but Martin did it. Even the universe celestial group will be forcibly twisted into shapeshifting diamonds. The group of gods that had been wiped out before had already proved this with the cost of their lives. Such a guy. Even more terrifying than the aspirants back then. The eyes of the first verdict flashed with a cold light. The aspirants have been annihilated, and the strongest armored god slayers are also missing, but what about Martin? Now it seems that the threat is greater than the aspirants. Martin, as well as the race he created, deserve to die. The noble gods will judge him. Annihilation. The first verdict looked majestic. Rumble. Just when everything was under his nobility and sacredness, a terrible roar suddenly came from the stars of the universe. The number one adjudicator turned his head, but saw. The team of gods who monitored Cybertron in the cosmic starry sky was actually attacked. Martin, you are looking for death. The first verdict is like rage in an instant. Martin ordered his subordinates to attack the universe celestial team without hesitation. The team crouched in the cosmic starry sky, staring straight at his planet, which made people feel disgusted. And Martin was disgusted with such an overbearing guy, he would never endure, and directly ordered the war. Kill all these cosmic gods who don't know the so-called. Martin ordered. Soon, the entire Cybertronian star immediately had many powerful guys dispatched. Master Titanium. Soaring into the sky. God of War Kratos. Divine Power Optimus Prime. Infinite Megatron. Even the little Galactus Ganado went there. A terrifying war that shook countless galaxies suddenly broke out at this moment. Just in the moment of the confrontation, the existing countless planets were blown up on the spot. Up to double digits, or at least strong. Level Godfather's starting combat forces fought desperately, and the aftermath of the war that broke out, slowly spreading, wiped out everything. That huge level instantly attracted many distant eyes. It's war again. This time it's the universe heaven god group again? No, it's completely different from the past. This time the god is different, and a powerful god has come from the outer universe. Many ancient beings just glanced at the gods, and quickly shifted their gazes, and even more, they turned their gazes to Master Titan. There was a hint of uncertainty in the many eyes. The existence of this level single universe is the one who suddenly appeared on Cybertron. But how is this possible? How could a level single universe suddenly appear? And without occupying any track in this universe, it suddenly appeared as a level single universe. The weirdness of Master Titan made the ancient universe gods look suspicious. They watched Master Titan show strength, especially the peculiar pen in the opponent's hand, which had the terrifying power to rewrite reality, and even the universe gods could not avoid the interference of this power. Die. Master Titan took the pen of prophecy and swiped fiercely at a god in front of him. In an instant, bursts of twisting force burst out, as if to rewrite the future and lock it, and forcing the existing reality to move towards that lock. The future of death collapsed. A level godfather only had time to let out an unwilling roar, and the whole body began to collapse. The logic was chaotic, and it became a pile of scrap metal on the spot. Mine. A figure rushed up quickly, biting and devouring the dead god, and patted his stomach contentedly. Master T was dumbfounded, shook his head, and turned around to attack and kill the other gods. One deity fell, and soon, there were only 3 of these 5 deities. At this time, a terrifying coercion came, and the number one adjudicator roared in a low voice, extremely furious. At this moment, if he shot directly, he would directly kill Master Titan and others. But the next moment, there was a horrible light surging. Martin arrived, expressionless, and blocked the attack of the number one adjudicator with a punch, expressionless. Martin, your behavior is an offense to the noble god, you are looking for death. The first verdict was furious. This kind of nonsense, the team of gods who were destroyed by our regiment before also said, you stupid scraps, even the language system and thinking system are designed exactly the same? Martin dug his ears and sneered. Regarding the number one adjudicator in front of him, Martin was thinking of killing him, and immediately stopped talking nonsense and snapped his fingers. In an instant, two more figures suddenly appeared, surrounding the number one adjudicator in the center. Not only that, but Martin used the fire source and began to spread quickly, enshrouding the three gods, and starting a crazy transformation. These cosmic gods, in front of Martin, are basically encountering natural enemies, and there is a serious lack of countermeasures. Is this the source of fire? You can have the source of ability for everything. The number one adjudicator watched with jealousy, and immediately, a divine light burst from his body, and he directly rushed toward the three divine gods who were struggling in pain. But Martin's two gods, who had been transformed long ago, took the lead and besieged the number one adjudicator amidst the loud noise. The more you fight, the heavier the aura of the number one adjudicator's body. These two lower-level sequences, after being transformed into shape-shifting King Kong by you, dare to attack my upper-level sequence, and the original thinking organs in their bodies have been modified in a mess. In the first verdict, the main voice became more and more agitated, and no one could understand the shock in his heart, and even had a trace of fear for Martin. After a long time lapse, is there finally another existence that can threaten the position of the cosmic god group? No, it's even more terrifying than the aspirants back then. Martin, on behalf of the noble cosmic gods group, I have sentenced that life on Earth should be extinct, and you who came from the Earth, together with the race and civilization you created, will also be extinct. This is from the will of the cosmic gods group. The first verdict snarled in a low voice. Martin and the number one adjudicator broke out in an all-round war. From the moment of confrontation, the two sides used their full strength. Each blow caused the collapse and extinction of a large area of the planet. This is an unstoppable, terrible disaster. And the reality that really made the number one adjudicator feel horrified is that Martin's strength is far beyond his imagination. Compared with his exhaustive simulation and deduction results, he is much stronger at the level of strength. Rumble. Martin looked indifferent. While moving fast, he directly drew out the star sword, slashed it down, and smashed the energy wave from the number one adjudicator in a sudden. That sharp star sword, but always blue light shines. Everything in front of you will turn into cosmic dust. With that frequent burst of sharpness, the noble and long-standing existence of the number one adjudicator felt a heartfelt consternation. What kind of weapon is this? How can it be stronger than the infinite sword? The first ruling took the initiative, especially after he retreated quickly, but was still cut by the horrible sword beam. He would then have a powerful armor that was undamaged at the core of the Big Bang in the depths. At this moment, unexpectedly appeared a deep scar. There are many things you don't know. Let me give you a suggestion. Don't put your past vision and information on me. Otherwise, your end will be more terrible than death. Martin looked at the first adjudicator, clearly not looking at the enemy, but at A. Like shapeshifting King Kong. It's a pity that he can only see that the number one judge must die, and it is the kind that is going to be smashed, if he really activates the no high level. The first ruling master roared roars that seemed to come from the abyss, with deep and long, the divine light suddenly burst out, and he also tried his best. But even so, he was still at a disadvantage. As an ancient god, he was actually suppressed by Martin, a human being. Boom. One hit Martin. But the opponent's powerful god armor shed 99% of his power and couldn't damage Martin at all, but Martin wielded the star sword, which could continuously damage his body. In addition, there is also an extremely powerful symbiote attacking him in a haunting manner. The more you fight, the more the heart of the number one adjudicator sinks. The sound waves and flames gushing out of him only made Quentin feel pain and anger, and attacked him more and more frantically. This symbiote is about to become a god. The first verdict became more and more apprehensive and kept collecting data. Roar. At this moment, there were three terrifying roars. Immediately there was a crashing sound of scrapping. With the explosion of countless planets, one of the remaining three gods had been blown up in one fell swoop, and the remaining two gods also stopped their actions abruptly. Instead, I looked at the first verdict. The first verdict was furious. In just a moment, he lost his sense of other gods forever. There is no doubt that the remaining two gods are shape-shifting Vajra from now on. What a terrifying thing this is. This human being actually has the power to distort the ancient gods, and even the cosmic gods must be under this man. This man is the natural enemy of the cosmic deity group. As long as he does not die, as long as he keeps getting stronger, the entire cosmic deity group will always be in his shadow. If I were the first adjudicator, I would also do everything to kill Martin. It's a pity that the power of the number one adjudicator is not strong, and it is not worth mentioning compared with those high-level officials. Looking at all of this one by one, Martin's displayed power made everyone feel frightened. Even the celestial group must be under him. Then the whole multi-universe, what else can interfere with him on a mechanical level? The god of machines, there were already gods whispering. All the gods were silent, the entire universe became extremely silent, and Martin's name was passed on. The only sound was the first ruling master who was powerless to roar in the center of the battlefield. A series of divine words brewing terrifying power, resounding through the universe at this moment, yet seemed so desperate and wailing, even the gods, in front of such a powerful Martin, still face the end of defeat. The first verdict was completely damaged, his armor collapsed, revealing the internal mechanical structure, and all the energy leaked. He looked around with great anger and unwillingness. 4 gods surrounded him, Martin and many powerful subordinates, each sneered, just overlooking him. The indifferent gaze was basically overlooking a lamb to be slaughtered. The universe celestial group will not let you go. Our strength is definitely not something you can understand from a humble background, Martin. You are a miracle born in the entire multi-universe, and a miracle that shouldn't occur. You will definitely be encircled and suppressed by the universe celestial group. The entire multi-universe will never have a place for you. In the first verdict, the Lord's voice was low, revealing a kind of peace, and he already knew clearly the fate he was about to face. Smashed the dark gods group, besieged the first firmament, maimed the observers, and exterminated the aspirants. He, the noble first judge, the sacred and only sequence god, almost participated in the self-color gods group. All the wars since its birth have clearly realized their own demise at this moment. It's really sad. Did not die in the vast multi-universe war, did not die in the horrible multi-level universe gods, but was about to die in this insignificant small universe, dying in a multi-universe destined to shake the entire multi-universe, at the moment but in the hands of humans whose reputation is not prominent. Martin looked at him indifferently, raised his hand, the star sword shone brightly, and suddenly cut it down with a sword, and the azure blue light flooded everything. Factory. There is no need to be sad. It is your lifetime honor for you to die in my hands. Together, your glorious sound does not have greater value as a corpse under my throne. In the azure blue ocean, a cruel light that cut the entire universe in an instant, suddenly cut it off, and Martin's voice slowly came out. You will regret it. The power of the universe god group is beyond your imagination. Even the oldest multi-universe god dare not provoke us. You don't know anything. At the moment when he was about to be submerged by the sword light, the voice of the first ruling master was calm. His body had been split and shattered a little bit by this sword. Even his own will was hit by the blow of this shattering rule. Little by little destroyed. At the last moment when the will of the first verdict dissipated, he clearly saw Martin's smile, which contained a trace of contempt and overlook. What is he laughing at? The number one adjudicator was confused. No fear, no excitement, what is he laughing at? It's you who don't understand anything. I know everything about you. I know who the senior members of your celestial team are. I know how powerful you are. From start to finish, you seem to be in control of everything. The guy who doesn't understand anything. Martin laughed in a low voice and laughed wildly. What do you want to say? The strongest of your cosmic gods, the strongest god named Arise, the adjutant of OAA above all things, isn't it the one of your cosmic gods? Isn't he the strongest? Isn't he the strongest of your universe celestial group? The head of the first verdict roared, and he looked at Martin with a weird smile in disbelief. At this moment, the shock of his heart was beyond comprehension to outsiders. You. The number one adjudicator finally uttered a roar, and he was already smashed by the star sword. Everything was split apart and completely disintegrated. At the end of life, no one can know the panic and incomprehension of this ancient god. Why would Martin know? Why does Martin know so much about their cosmic gods? However, the first verdict has no chance to explore all of this, and he is completely dead. It's a pity. If it weren't for worrying that I would activate this guy, there might be a little bit of attention from the top of the celestial team, so I wouldn't kill him directly. Martin glanced regretfully at the fellow's dying body and sighed. His gaze seemed to be looking at a treasure smashed by his own hands. Ah. My supreme master, how did you split him into microscopic particles? Ah. This is my food. Quentin and Janetta made a scream at the same time, with a kind of regret, looking desperately at the body of the number one adjudicator that quickly dissipated. This sword directly wiped out everything about the number one adjudicator, causing 2 painful howls of food. You two, shut up for me. Martin has a headache. It seems that this crisis has suddenly disappeared. In the face of Cybertron, the Cosmic Celestial Group suffered a big defeat. Even the number one adjudicator who deliberately rushed from other universes to collect Martin's information was hacked by Martin. Died. But Master Titan's eyes fell on Martin's back, thoughtfully. Who is Alizar? The strongest of the Universe Celestial Group, the adjutant of OAA. But who is OAA above all things? Master Titan looked confused. OAA. No, it should be called AO, Roar. This great existence is the ultimate end of all meaning and meaningless, concepts and non-concepts. After some heartless guys returned to Cybertron one by one, Martin said lightly. Master Titan made a move. The existence of the Tribunal of Life that encompasses the almighty universe is vulnerable to a single blow in front of AO. And Erisham, the leader of the Universe Celestial Group, is the adjutant selected by the AO. He is the one who has made a name in front of the AO. It is very tricky. Martin walked in the starry sky, as if strolling in a leisurely courtyard. He didn't seem to worry at all about the terrifying enemies he faced in the future. Master Titan opened his mouth, but after all, no one said anything. He just kept the news silently in his heart. For him of level single universe, he really couldn't understand the existence of that level. But Martin knew what a terrifying guy this Arise was. Arisar, whose duties are judges, is responsible for rulings and trials. His status and authority are highly similar to those of the Court of Life. In terms of strength, it is also particularly terrifying. Apart from other things, in the event of Time is Coming, the primitive Transcendence, who was able to join AO, the Marvel Supreme God, began to traverse the multi-universe, hesitate to exhaust all the timelines, and personally slaughtered the Universe Celestial Group. The scale of this battle can be imagined. In front of the Transcenders who swept everything is humble like an ant, and it will die in a lightly crushed way. It is reasonable to say that the Cosmic Gods Group is bound to die if the original Transcendent can do it. But the result? Nothing. It was just that a bunch of worthless gods died. After the Transcender stopped, the Cosmic Gods Group began to become active in the multi-universe again, as if nothing happened. Everything has the great justice of Arise, plus the AO platform above everything. The Universe God Group can't collapse. Even if the Transcendents in the non-peak period did it themselves, the Universe Celestial Group did not collapse. This is just the tip of the iceberg displayed by the Cosmic Gods. In many major events, the Cosmic Gods of the Cosmic Gods revealed some cryptic details, but they all revealed terrifying information, but many people didn't really think about it. And thinking about it. Martin is deeply aware of what terrible enemies he and his civilization will face. You have to remember, Master Titan, it is not that we want to provoke the Universe Celestial Group, but our continuous growth will inevitably be noticed and hostile by the Universe Celestial Group. They seem to be broad-minded but despicable and shameless ghosts. We will surely launch a surprise attack and extinction. This will happen sooner or later. Either we exterminated them, or we were exterminated by them. Definitely, there is another choice, that is, we will stay in this universe for the rest of our lives, stand by ourselves, and accept the top civilization that will always be a single universe in a low-key manner. Never take the step of multi-universe. But if I choose this way, I would rather die. Martin laughed. Even if the top god comes, he has to try to kill everyone to see. The battle finally came to an end, and it seemed that everything was over. But the ancient gods of the entire universe are deeply aware that everything that is happening now, in the distant future, will definitely cause huge amounts of waves, even, it will trigger wars that will affect countless universes. Some gods shook their heads, glanced in the direction of Cybertron with fear, and then immediately looked away. No one knows the meaning of this battle better than them. Number 1 Adjudicator. This is the sequence god, among the 1256 models, the only god, the one that can't be made after one dies. What made them even more frightened was that Martin actually possessed the terrifying power to kill the sequence gods head-on. I saw the possibility that he is about to stand at the multi-universe level, and can kill the sequence god, at least in terms of strength and vision. He is very close to the multi-universe level. A series of faint voices sounded, and they communicated in low voices, as if they were afraid to attract the attention of Martin. In the same way, they also saw that the vast war between Martin and the Cosmic God Group was inevitable. All the gods are worried, and that terrifying multi-level universe war is simply not something they can bear. The level of wars, the countless universes are nothing more than gravel by your feet, and they can be trampled into powder at will. The entire universe was silent, silently watching the next move of the Cybertronian master. Vaguely, they felt that this supposedly stable universe was becoming more and more dangerous. Earth. The entire planet has become dilapidated, countless cities have been destroyed by the aftermath of wars, The number of deaths is immeasurable, and the entire planet appears to be filled with smoke. A 600-meter-high giant, at the moment, one after another fell to the ground, like huge mountains. Boom. A series of terrifying energy waves bombarded and finally killed a god, and the terrifying energy that burst out once again wiped out the surrounding large tracts of cities. Finally succeeded, this is the last god. The heroes and villains were exhausted, looking at the figure that crashed down with a sullen face covered in blood, and finally heaved a sigh of relief. Too difficult, it is too difficult. Only 5 gods nearly destroyed the Earth, causing the Earth to pay an extremely painful price. It's hard to imagine, this is still a 600-meter-high god, if the 1,000-meter god is still on the Earth. Tony whispered, everyone had some scalp tingling. Steven took a deep breath and said in a deep voice, the only good news is that the kilometer-high guy is unlikely to come to Earth. I have monitored the strong wave and eruption in the universe through the magic circle. Martin has already taken a shot. Kill that guy. It's really good news. Did you win? Forget it, you can win. No one knows where Martin's limit is. Captain America took off his already broken shield, looked down for a while, and sighed deeply. In other words, whether it is a vibranium shield or an adamantium alloy shield, they are too far apart, far inferior to the one he used first. Boom. The Hornet threw the circular shield, the original adamantium alloy shield that was picked up by the shape-shifting King Kong in the New York War a long time ago, and threw it in front of Captain America with a bang. Grumbling. Bumblebee uttered a voice, but found that his vocal organs were severely damaged and could only make a bunch of murmurs of unknown meaning, and sighed immediately. It's really miserable. These cosmic gods are really powerful, and they still cause such terrible damage to them even when many methods are used. Oh, thank you so much for returning my shield. Captain America's eyes lit up, grabbing his old partner and clinging tightly in his arms. A big battle ended. Although many people have died, the harvest is also extremely amazing, not to mention, the corpses of these cosmic gods are enough to drastically advance the Earth's science and technology tree by several orders of magnitude. In particular, these intelligent heroes and villains, as long as they can get the corpses, can quickly analyze the technology of the universe gods, and then transform them into their own power. I want to take a corpse and transform it into a powerful armor. When these ghosts send people to the Earth next time, I will let them experience despair. Well, the name of the new armor it's called. The Anti-Tianjin Group Battle Armor, that's right, that's it. Tony slapped his hands fiercely, staring fiercely at the big man in front of him. Gods, these guys are too powerful, and the value they contain is incalculable. Tony, I warn you, if you make some unreliable ghosts, I will find a way to make you look good. Magneto glared at Tony ferociously and sneered. What kind of shit anti-XX battle armor and the like, it made him feel sick when he heard it, and it never came in handy. Compared with making war armor, Magneto has a more ambitious plan in mind. In particular, the Earth has recently been attacked by a series of constantly large events, and his vitality has long been severely damaged. This is the opportunity for him to realize his ambitions. He is developing a great thing, which is enough to change the existing situation and clean up all kinds of trash on the Earth for him. Marvel Multi-Universe. There are endless universes traversing, and countless new universes are born at all times, and countless universes are dying out. 99% of the universes do not have specific names, but there are few universes with names, which often means trouble. Universe 2149. In the empty cosmic starry sky, a bright silver figure traversed the space, and the silver shadowman loyally performed his duties, looking for delicious planets for his master planet devourer. This time, he came to the solar system and fell in love with this azure planet. Earth. The silver shadowman thought for a while, and was satisfied with the energetic planet in front of him, but for some unknown reason, there was not much life fluctuation on this prosperous planet. He descended directly and planned to observe this planet up close. The silver luster cut through the dark night sky. At the moment, the zombies who were lying on the living people feasting on their heads raised their heads and stared at the silver shadowman. Ah, here's another piece of fresh flesh. Captain America swallowed the liver that he had just eaten into his mouth. It was full of twisted and hideous faces, obsessingly looking at the silver shadowman in the sky. The silver shadow frowned and looked at these weird guys with some bewilderment, such as the one carrying the shield. Half of his head was missing, and the remaining half of his brain was visible to the naked eye, so he was still alive? But the kindness of his heart and his own responsibilities drove him to say that sentence. This planet has been taken by the great planet devourer, you hurry up and run for your life. After speaking, he must step on the skateboard and turn and leave. Captain America, Ant-Man, Thor, Iron Man, Wolverine, Hulk, Spider-Man, all the zombies raised their heads and gave out weird low laughs. The living people on this planet have been eaten by us, how could we let you go? Hurry up and contribute all your flesh and blood, I feel hungry. A group of zombies rushed to the Silver Shadow Man frantically. Court death. A glimmer of cold light flashed in Silver Shadow Man's eyes, and the powerful force from the cosmic power began to surge. Boom. First, a fist smashed the shield of Captain America, and another energy beam smashed Wolverine's adamantium alloy bones. The Silver Shadow was fully fired, and his hard body was completely immune to any form of attack. Are you crazy? You dare to shoot at me? The Silver Shadow Man has realized that something is wrong. These guys have gone crazy, and each body is rotten, with hideous teeth showing on their mouths. The most important thing is that it can't be killed. The Silver Shadow couldn't kill these guys. No matter how serious the injury is given, even if the body is shattered in half, these guys can always get up on the spot in the next second and continue to pounce on him. So hungry, starved to death, you just need to be eaten by us obediently, and we want to fill your stomach with you. So hungry. A famous zombie wailed horribly, still retaining wisdom and self-awareness, but was driven by endless hunger and overeating. This is the Marvel zombie. At this time, a terrifying behemoth suddenly descended, with soaring anger. After realizing that his little brother was entangled and besieged by a group of humble species, the ancient god was enraged. You said, hungry? You actually said hungry in front of my planet devourer? Galactus stood on the surface of the Earth with an angry face. In an instant, the global volcano erupted, the tsunami roared, and the whole Earth began to tremble. Speaking of hunger, no one can understand the taste of hunger better than him, the cosmic god who has been shopping for more than 10 billion years and is still struggling to find food. Looking at these weird things, there is clearly no life fluctuation, but still alive, Galactus feels insulted. These tiny human beings are actually in the field where he is best, and they keep saying that they are hungry. Ah, what a big piece of meat. All the zombies' eyes were red, their faces were obsessed, and they pounced on Galactus in a fierce manner, but how could they be Galactus's opponents and be beaten by a halt? Quickly, put out the cosmic cannon. Go and call Sentry, that guy is biting Magneto and Black Panther on the other side of the planet. A group of zombies yelled loudly, with longing expressions on their faces. Boom. With a loud noise, the Fantastic Four fired the cannon that was designed to deal with the universe gods, and a single blow left a scar on Galactus' shoulder. In the next moment, Sentry Roar, who had received the news, screamed, and immediately bite Galactus's wound with one bite, and the terrifying zombie virus spread into Galactus in an instant. Galactus let out a wailing, and in an instant, all his reason and thinking seemed to be frozen, and a terrible distortion was taking place. Numerous zombies began to rush on frantically, eating the flesh and blood of the gods. Is this the taste of gods? I want to eat all the gods in this universe? Hulk yelled up to the sky, devouring Galactus' flesh and blood frantically. You bastards, how dare you offend the universe god? Silver Shadow Man Rage raised his hand to shoot an energy beam to rescue his master. Snapped. A terrifying giant hand suddenly grabbed it and grabbed the Silver Shadow Man. Owner, click it. The corpse-changed Galactus stuffed the Silver Shadow Man into his mouth and chewed it with a cheerful expression. Damn. Why did you guy change his corpse so quickly? I was thinking about cutting all your meat off and eating it several times. Iron Man put on his mask again, grumbling. The same kind of meat cannot be eaten, it is sour and smelly, otherwise the hungry zombies would have eaten each other long ago. However, because they ate one of Galactus's arms, their hunger was relieved, and the group of people who regained their sanity got together and discussed how to develop a vaccine to cure their zombie virus. But this is just an extravagant hope. Similar things have happened too many times. At the beginning of the spread of the virus, after eating a lot of living people, they planned to develop a vaccine during the short interval of regaining their sanity. But for zombies, filling their stomachs is a luxury. Those guys who just ate an arm of Galactus and were full, within a few minutes, that terrifying hunger surged up again. So hungry. Wolverine yelled at the sky, and unexpectedly spouted a terrifying cosmic power from his mouth, and all the zombies were immediately ecstatic. You have eaten my meat and got my cosmic power. You already have the ability to travel through the stars of the universe. The zombie Galactus was hungry, suddenly got up, and was about to go to other planets, but this time, what he was going to eat was not the planet, but flesh and blood.